Headbutts Unboxing, and we are back in the house to talk about Deontay Wilder and the franchise tag that could be maybe offered to him down the road somewhere. Let's go ahead and get to the article. This is a boxing scene article, by the way. And it says, let's be clear, Deontay Wilder would rather lose a title in the ring than have one awarded to him in a boardroom. The unbeaten heavyweight is coming up on 5 years as the reigning World Boxing Council champion for the WBC. An anniversary date which will only remain intact should he get past Luis Ortiz in their up-and-coming rematch later this month. With the sanctioning body's creation of the WBC franchise title comes the safest net of not having to lose a belt in the ring or even abide by the organization's rules, as it is related to honoring mandatory challenges or obligations. To date, Saul Canelo Alvarez and Vasily Lomachenko have accepted such honors as the WB franchise champions and middleweight and lightweight, respectively. There came heavy speculation that with a repeat win over Ortiz would come such distinction at heavyweight, with which the sport's longest reigning active WBC titleist has immediately resisted. Many people ask me about the franchise belt, Wilder said. I don't know much about it. Noting during a media workout session at his training facilities in Northport, Alabama, while preparing for his rematch with Ortiz, which headlines at November the 23rd, a Fox Sports pay-per-view from MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. What I'm hearing is it allows you to stay a champion. You don't have to fight mandatories and stuff like that. If that's the case, I'm not interested. I want the mandatories. Guys work their way up, work hard to get to number 2, and then become a mandatory. Why would you crown someone that doesn't have to have mandatories? I agree. Because, see, here's the thing, and I'll get back to it in the article in a second. But here's the thing. The big fights are supposed to be you versus the top contenders, not you versus Joe the cab driver or Sam the Uber driver or John the janitor. It doesn't work that way. Those are easy fights. Nobody want to see. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's your favorite fighter, you'll watch no matter who he fights. But at the end of the day, we want to see the big fights. The way this franchise thing is set up, we might not ever get Canelo versus Andre, Canelo versus Charlo, Canelo versus whoever you feel is a top fighter or is ranked at the top of the list. You're going to see guys getting pulled out of nowhere. Don't be surprised if you see another Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight or something like that, the way things are going. And it's kind of the same thing with Lomachenko. Now, some people say, well, they're not dodging these guys. We don't know that. We don't know what's going on. We're not in their camps. We're not their promoters. We're not their managers. All they care about, as far as the business end of it, is keeping their belt around his waist. And if people are willing to watch garbage fights, they'll keep pushing garbage fights. But anyway, it says Wilder will attempt the 10th defense of the title he claimed in January 2015. Points win over Bermane Stiverne, who was pretty much done at this point in his career, having scored the first round KO in their November 2017 rematch among 9 previous defenses. Their sequel came about as ordered by the WBC, albeit as a replacement upon when his first fight with Ortiz was rescheduled. Wilder also satisfied his mandatory obligation in his most recent outing, a first-round knockout of California's Dominique Brazil. And boy, was that a beautiful knockout. But anyway, it says the build-up was far more contentious than the fight itself, with the two having deep-rooted history, which bubbled over from the moment the fight was formally announced. Wilder says, I love having mandatories. Him having to sit, having to wait. Wilder says of the process, he gets frustrated. And then when the fight comes, you have me waiting all this time already. There's always that build up to the fight. When you take that away, you take certain things away from boxing. You take away the charisma away. When you take the charisma away, you take the excitement away from it. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to take the excitement away from anyone. I'm a dangerous fighter. I have a devastating right hand. That's all I've been doing my whole career, giving fans what they want to see, giving them devastating knockouts. Of course, Wilder can still bring that level of excitement in the ring no matter what title is at stake. Still, he likes the feeling of hosing an actual title above his head after each win rather than being symbolized as a champion. The distinction for Mexico's Alvarez allowed him to look elsewhere for his last fight, moving up 2 weight divisions to knock out Sergey Kovalev. And that's a whole nother topic right there, because you got people hollering that was a fix. Maybe I'll do a video about that. But for a light heavyweight title just last week and leaving him obligation free for his next ring adventure, at least as it relates to his stature at world middleweight champion. The decision elevated Jamal Charlo from interim to full titleist in the process. And see, that's another thing. If Wilder is elevated to the WBC franchise champion, Dillian White would be elevated to the champion, him being the interim. Or maybe Tyson Fury would be. I don't know, because now Tyson Fury is the mandatory and Dillian White still has the suspension over his head. And let me make that clear. Dillian White isn't suspended from boxing. Dillian White has been suspended by the WBC. He cannot fight for his title. But Dillian White can actually fight right now if he wanted to. All he has to do is go somewhere outside of that jurisdiction, which, I mean, like I said, the only issue with Dillian White, he can't defend his title. He can't fight for his title. That's the reason why the WBO, when he took them to arbitration to figure out what was going on with him being the mandatory, they like, look, bro, you're the WBC champion. Whether people believe it or not, the interim title is a real thing. So that's having a belt. You can't be the WBO mandatory or #1 ranked, whatever, if you're a champion. Now, if he would have made that argument before he beat Oscar Rivas, it might have stood. Well, and even then it wouldn't have worked, because the WBO has this thing where if you're unified, undisputed, at one weight class and you move up, they'll automatically put you as the mandatory. That's why Usyk was elevated to the #1 spot when he moved up to heavyweight. And I'm gonna skip down a little bit. It says the ruling create a path for Lomachenko to accept any fight he wishes while angling for the winner of the December 14th title fight between IBF lightweight title claimant Richard Commey and unbeaten mandatory challenger Teofimo Lopez, no longer factored into the equation of having to honor a mandatory defense versus the WBC interim titleist Devin Haney, who, similar to Charlo, received email notification of his newfound status at full belt holder. That's a level of nonsense the unbeaten heavyweight title claimant doesn't wish to entertain. Hopefully nothing comes my way about a franchise belt, notes Wilder. I don't have nothing against guys that have taken it. I'm just listening to the fans and listening to my heart. I don't think being a franchise champion will fit me. If they want to give someone else that belt over, I guess that's supposed to be over me, then I'm fine with that. So I mean, like I said, I'm pretty much in agreement with Wilder. I hope they wouldn't give it to somebody else though, because he's the actual title holder, and that'll just bring even more confusion. So I mean, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, they should scrap this. If you want to call it an honorary title, that's one thing, but you're placing a belt around somebody's waist, then I'm not even sure you can lose. When they first was talking about this, and I looked into the WBC statement about it, it seems like almost they can't lose the title. Like the way it was worded, like Canelo would be the franchise champion basically until he retires. I don't know. Like I said, if somebody got a better understanding of it, please hit me up in the comment section, because I'm still confused about it. But I know you don't have mandatories. Matter of fact, the only way I think we'll see Canelo fight some of these other guys is because he has other titles and they might command mandatories on him. But I don't even think the WBA super title does that. But I could be mistaken. Like I said, hit me up in the comment section. Educate your brother if I'm off on it. And that's pretty much all I got. This is Hairbusting Boxing's Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you think about the whole franchise thing. This is Hairbusting Boxing's own Fight Doctor. I am out.